Comes out your son. You burn the swine when I want you shine. The tree of life, them I want you climb, cause them heart no kind. Comes, I say them heart no kind. Buxton Massive, Kidaki, Red Hat.
Guyana and Guyanese, at home and abroad. Tune in to Guyanese Morning Time, hosted by Kadaki Amsterdam, where the sun always shines. Guyanese Morning Time, the people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. We rise up early morning watching Tom's TV, where wisdom and knowledge, yes, it is the key. Exposing corruption over land and sea, where the wicked politician they try to trick me. Guyana is a land for everybody. With 6 races should live in harmony. Is one set of people getting oil money. Is one set of people doing the thievery. Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. This is a program that you all can see, sharing your views and your integrity. Like it, comment and share it all around. Pass it to your neighbor, safe and sound. A sad situation going on in this town. The voice of the people is getting trampled down. Out of the mouths of babes and sucklings, which as ordained me to sing. I sing Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, fooling the people. You're promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. Stop fooling people. You're promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. I say, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. They got Breakford, Bork and Mark Benchcop. David Hines and Kadaki Amsterdam. Sherrod Duncan, Nigel London. Normal Brown and Gavin Matthews. Big up Paslow Port People Governor. Simona Brooms, Robin Simpson. Hampton Green and Winston Jordan. And yes, we can go right on and on. Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again.
The relatives and friends of young Wyndham Bacchus, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of our in Boston, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of Peter Headley, they deserve justice.
And so when we say that Guyana is an apartheid state, we have the evidence to show.
bill tell me morning. Now because you money done, you come with conniving morning. Then you had your pocket full. In a bill tell me morning. Now because you money done, you hustle for tell me morning. Yes, morning, neighbor. Morning, neighbor, morning. Morning, neighbor, morning. Morning, I don't want you conniving morning. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. That's all the money that me walk. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. This is all the money that me walk. I said money, neighbor, money, neighbor, money, money, neighbor, money, money. I don't want you conniving money. Oh, Joseph.
The fire burning red in a Georgia representing of it comes hard here. Big up Kidaki, Buxton massive. Hey Babylon boy, you go on like you like come son. Red.
Hey fans, it's karaoke and oldies night this and every Thursday at Club Twilight Sideline Dam, Buxton. Dance to the magical songs of yesteryear by popular DJs and Camps Audio. Admission is free. Come out. Let's make memories at Club Twilight, Sideline Dam, Buxton North. You can get meat anywhere, but for the best cuts of chicken, beef, pork, mutton, and lots more, check out T&W Harris Butcher Shop located in the East Rheinveld Market Meat Section. Call us on 609-7168, 641-4494. Ask for Rastaman. T&W Harris Butcher Shop for the best in fresh cut meats and lots more. Morning, neighbor, morning. Morning, neighbor, morning. Good morning, Corindy. Mamich, good morning. Them not like me conniving morning. It is 7 hours 32 on the 8th day of April in the year 2024. Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. How are you doing? How are you been? How was your weekend? What you do over the weekend? Did you make money or love? Or you made love and money? What did you do? Did you take time to rest and recuperate? What about taking time to pamper yourself? You know, you can't be going at it every day, all day, day in, day out. Sometimes you gotta rest, step back, look around, and say, you know what? I ain't feel like doing nothing today. And because I ain't feel like doing nothing today, nobody can make me do nothing. Right? How about that? That's a good thing to do. Every now and again. Some days you just gotta look around you and say, listen, if I drop down today, right? So be it. So be it.
Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. For today, let's review this amazing TikTok.
I'm not coming to work today. I can't see. No, nothing wrong with my eyes. I just can't see myself coming to work today. Thank you. In other words, I'm not doing one rascal today.
I just realized you won't be hearing the audio, but if you were hearing I'm not coming to work today, then that was my intention. I wanted to play that song for you, but then I realized I have to share a whole screen to hear that song to play. Right, anyhow, I just had a good weekend. I'm hoping that you are refreshed and that, you know, you are reinvigorated. And you are renewed because you recognize the importance of continuing the fight. Right? I'm all those things. I feel like, you know, you can't allow the energy to wane at this time. You got to get a little more busy. Colin Wainwright Peters, you're not getting sound? I know you're getting sound. Check again. All right, so here, there are a number of things that we have to talk about. Coming off of good Free Talk Friday evening, we have to talk about a number of things. But somewhere along the line, I want to talk to you about how much money your government, the Guyana government, is taking from our coffers. I can't even say to co-sponsor, but let's say to co-sponsor. Burna Boy coming to Guyana. Y'all heard about that? Listen to the advertisement and you're going to hear the advertising. It's hosted by St. James and eNetworks and One Guyana. Is One Guyana an organization? Is One Guyana a government entity? What is One Guyana? I thought One Guyana was a concept. And so where does this concept, One Guyana, get money from to invest, to support, to spend on bringing Burna Boy? Yeah, lady among, if you haven't heard it before, I am sure it will rock your nerves. Good. So that is something I want us to talk about. Those of you who know what's happening, you could start gathering the information, send it into my WhatsApp. And so that we will have enough information to share on that particular issue. Those who know. Good. Well, let me start from Friday. Kofi asked me a number of questions. Some I can't remember, some I may remember. But one of the most important of all those questions in my mind is, how will you deal with public service income? How will you deal with income, wages and salaries, Mr. Amsterdam? That position is out there all the time. I'm a member of the Working People's Alliance, an executive member of the Working People's Alliance, the WP. Since the coalition was in government,
we proposed through Clive Thomas, first and foremost, a direct cash transfer to every citizen. Well, not every, well, technically every citizen, every household, of approximately $5,000, which equates to about $1 million Ghana annually. Now, at the time when that proposal was made, a lot of people, including the sitting government, basically threw water on it and say, hey, that can't happen. We will not be able to afford it. At the time when that proposal was made, Clive Thomas, Professor Clive Thomas, had already done some projections. And he was saying to Ghana and the world, the oil that we are talking about is so much. We are going to meet 1 million barrels of oil a day. Right? And the amount of oil that is going to be produced would be adequate. The profit from that oil will be adequate to give Guyanese at least $5,000 annually per household. And he went forward, he said, listen, I'm not saying that the government should take all the money and do that, but there should be a cap of about 10% of the income. So take 10% of the income and give direct cash transfer to households. And so the 90% that is left, y'all could do what y'all want, including thief it. Right? And y'all don't tell me I should say steal. We Guyanese will say thief. If you're stealing, you're a thief, man. So you're thieving. Good? Right. So Clive Thomas said, listen, every household should get about a 5,000 US. But let's put a cap to 10% of the oil revenue. So when the oil revenue is low, all right, we're starting up, so it's going to be low. Let's take 10% of that and divide it for each household. So it didn't necessarily have to start with $1 million. But as the oil revenue increases, that 10% would have increased. And so the direct cash transfer to households would have been increasing. And eventually it could have gone to $5,000 per household. The sitting government basically did what? Pour water on it, cold water. Said, nah, we can't do that. The PPP kind of do a thing and say we're going to consider it. And then in recent times, they start saying, nah, we can't do that. And the supporters from deep down in the gutter comes up and say, I want handout, are you lazy, I don't want work. When I would take $1 million a month, in fact, last evening, I think I saw a comment to that extent. When we give direct cash transfer to citizens, next thing you know, the oil done, oil stop pump, and Guyana got infrastructure. I've never heard such ignorance, especially given the evidence that we are in a season of bounty. And so where do I stand with income for the ordinary working people? I stand with the WPA proposal, as we call it, the Buxton proposal. Right? I stand with that. And a part of that proposal, which a lot of people haven't realized, addresses the issue of a universal basic income. And so I stand with the universal basic income. That is how people should be treated. Nobody should be living in the level of poverty that Guyanese are currently living in. And oil is pumping at the rate it is pumping. Good? So you have my answer there, Coffee. That's my answer to that particular question. What was the other question? There was a question about foreign affairs in regard to Venezuela. I can't tell you a whole lot about I'll give me a minute for Cost Iris Ali. Madness there by Iris. Because actually continues to support the PPP. To tell me I'm a madman. Iris, you mad. And your whole generation mad. And that is how the PPP responds to what I want to say, constructive criticism. Ideas that they can't really contend with. They attack the person. Ad hominem attack, that is what we call them. Attack of the messenger. Yeah, this messenger don't sit down idly and accept attacks. Not every day, Iris. So think again. Good. Foreign affairs. How will I deal with Venezuela? I would look for the best international relations consultant that we have in this country. Not to say in this country. Guyanese. I don't know if Carl Guyanese is that man currently because I see the PPP held on to him for Thy Kingdom Come. That's first and foremost. You must have up front there the best available to us. Number one. And number two, I will personally stick with the process that we've engaged that has worked over the years for us. And that is the ICJ. I will stick with the ICJ, the United Nations bodies and so on, to try to resolve that issue with Venezuela. I ain't going outside of that boundary. I will not go outside of that boundary. So those who went and do Argyle agreement and this and that, I think they have simply been shooting themselves in the foot. We have had a tried and tested route, and I would choose to stick to that tried and tested route. And in some matters, you cannot lean onto your own understanding. You have to lean onto the tried and tested people too. Part of the problem we have in this society is that if we're not of the same political grouping, the same political belief and so on, we can't work together. We can't work together. How do we build a nation if we cannot utilize the services of our best? And because the best that is available to us has a different political leaning, we believe that that person can't be nationalistic and serve in the national interest. So we will settle for mediocrity. Look at the case of Vincent Adams. A man who has worked at perhaps the highest level in the energy department in the United States of America. And therefore, you know the United States of America when it comes to energy and energy consumption and policies and so on. Certainly he would have brought a whole lot of experience and knowledge to the table. But because he was hired by a government that is not the PPP, and he's a member of a political party that is not the PPP, he can't work to safeguard our own interest in this country. That's not good governance. That's not governance to the best interest of Ghana. So Venezuela, that is how I will deal with it. I will stick to the tried and tested path, number one. Number two, I will get the best to advise us on how we deal with it. And number three, sometimes you simply have to take very harsh decisions so that your opponent understands that you're playing is not child's play. So I'm not surprised and I'm not disappointed. I'll tell you the truth. When Maduro calls Ali a clown, that is exactly what he is. He is a clown. Nothing but a clown. And he has exhibited his clownishness by allowing Ali, by allowing Maduro and Gonzalez and Motley and all of them to lure him into a false sense of security with something they call the Argyle Agreement. That is what he is, a clown, and we see it every day. Did you ask me about education? I can't remember. But let me say, in terms of education, education has always been my baby. And again, I would want the best person or person available to us to lead the charge of education. Because education is important for the development and growth of any nation. If your citizens are not educated, and I'm not talking strictly academics, if your citizens are not adequately educated, then they cannot help you in the National Trust for Development. In this day and age, when I look around, in this day and age, when I look around, what obtains the education in this country is joke. It is joke. You have people, for example, who go and do a degree in computer science. And by the time they complete that degree, they now have to go and look for practical experiences. They ain't build nothing, they ain't develop nothing. They ain't invent nothing. The people we have lecturing, and this is no disrespect to the lecturers at the University of Ghana, for a greater extent are first degree people. Some might have a second degree. I don't think, I'm being very generous here, I don't think 25% of the lecturers at the University of Ghana are masters and doctorates and so on, professors. And so in computer science, we say GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. So if you have a first degree education, educating your people, then how do they go higher than that? And so in terms of education, for example, the University of Ghana will invest in the best again. You want to be the best, you have to invest in the best. You have the resources. You have the resources. And so you invest in the best. Pay our educators adequately so that they can be comfortable, so that they can grow and they can deliver in comfort. The University of Ghana Center for Communication Studies years ago didn't have a studio and broadcast license. Didn't have a studio nor broadcast license. And we're talking about our only university, national university. And so people are going there to learn communication, mass communication. But guess what? When they leave there for the greater part, the experience is minuscule. They got to go now and start working at all kind of low levels. Most of them, for the greater part, most of us, let me say, for the greater part, might have turned out to be journalists, public relations officers. Right? Very few specialists. So education needs a fix in this country. We definitely have to declare a state of emergency. You have to revamp and retool from the bottom up. From the bottom up. By the time your children get to grade 6, they must determine, and you must have helped them to determine whether or not there's strictly academic material, they want to go there, or they want to go into the tech voc area. And so they don't spend 20 years getting a university degree that doesn't serve them at the end of the day or doesn't serve the country at the end of the day. When last have you heard of a study in this country to determine the human resource needs and the use of that data to fashion where your education is going? So you got a donkey cart attitude to an economy that is now on locomotive speed or supersonic speed, let me say that. So all the people in your society that you have educated that can serve this society from now, the education that they have is education that catered for when you didn't have the resources to build superstructures. You didn't have the resources to push production, value-added production, and stuff like that. All the people you got are people who are trained to be employed, maybe as some service giver or something to the extent. And you're not adjusting your education policy to match the needs of your society right now. So everybody, every technical person who has to be employed to grow the society, to develop the society, infrastructure and others, otherwise have to be imported. So education needs a relook. People need to examine first and foremost, what do we need to grow this country? Where are the professionals to do that? How long will it take for us to, in the meantime, we got to survive, we got to use foreign input. But how long will it take us to grow a cadre of Guyanese who can replace the foreigners or work alongside the foreigners and then replace them eventually? Good. I've answered 3 of the questions. I assume all 3 were asked. I can't remember. I think there were about 5 questions. Good. I hope I have answered you clearly enough. Not only coffee, but I hope you understand my thinking, viewers and supporters. Somebody asked a question the other day, or somebody said something the other day. Maybe this morning I think I saw a comment about age and old people. All them old people. I don't have a problem with being old. I don't have a problem with old people. I have a problem with old people creating humbug, let me call it that, in the systems. There's another word I was looking for, but I can't find it right now. Let me just call it humbug. Or if I can call it sludge. A lot of the elders in the society were educated for a time prior to now. The education from that time to now still would have relevance, but it can only take us to so far and no further. And so there's a necessity for either partnership, and I would always argue for partnership, between the young generation and the older generation. The older generation would have had the knowledge for then to know. The younger generation will collect from now to the future. So when you bridge the current education with the past education and experience, I think the output can be greater. But what we have in these societies, in this Guyanese society in particular, I like to talk about here, this is where I live. We have a set of elders that say, I started this and I must see it to the end. Only I know what to do with it. And so when the world is working with Google Sheets and live stream, the elders are telling you about paper and pen and calculator. and video filming, as we call it. And so they might know what they want to do and how to get it done, or how they think they want to get it done. But their methods are not suitable for this fast-paced time. And so you must have a bridging of the gap to move the country forward. Yeah, I agree that it's time some of the old-timers, as we call them, step aside. I didn't say go into oblivion. I say step aside. Step aside and do what? Be advisors. Be a guiding hand. Be in the back room helping to strategize. Because, hey, the rate at which you have to run when you're leading in this time, by now many of our elders don't have that speed, nor energy. Nothing is wrong with them crafting a plan and having a young person run with it. Robbins is telling me that Chetty Jagan Airport is still using big books to record information. I don't know if it happens here, but for the one trip I made to the US, when I was ready to move from one state to the other by aircraft, I was able to check in online. Chick. Turn up, scan something, and go about your business. I don't know if you get to do that here. So that's a good example. You know, Miranda Brown talking about copying the PPP strategy. I don't know the PPP got any strategy, except spend willy-nilly and thief. They don't have a cohesive strategy for the development of this country. How can you convince me that you have a cohesive strategy for the development of this country when you have foreign nationals coming to this country to work? And you don't attach them. There's something that is called transfer of technology. A number of your brighter minds in that particular industry to understudy these people. So in a few years or so, you can rely on them. You know, I like to talk about the superiority of the Granger government. I mean, again, I will always repeat, they didn't do as much as they could have done, or they weren't fast enough in what they could have done. Right? Well, let me tell you this. By the time the Granger government left office, there was an entity in this country named PPD something, Power Producers and Distributors of Guyana, or something like that. Power Producers and Distributors. I remember that name. It might not be the total name, but Power Producers and Distributors. And let's say Granger government spent 5 years in government. After 5 years in government, there was an indigenous group of engineers capable of doing all of the work that White Sailor was doing in this country for decades under the PPP. Miranda answered that. Granger 10-point plan must have remained in his back pocket because why? Regime change. I always argue the PPP had to go to that no confidence motion to cut the life of the coalition government short, because if they had only allowed them that full term, the Guyanese people didn't want to hear nor see anything about the PPP anymore because of the level of development that they would have seen. Regime change took place. What did the PPP do? Instead of using those blueprints that were there to really modernize this country, they cut and paste Get rid of this, get rid of that, because they're going to spend too much money on the nation. They want more money to steal, thief. But back to the PP power producers and distributors. You remember Guyana was renting or buying, I think they were renting gensets on Wartsila, right? Wartsila, every time those gensets had to be serviced and maintained, Wartsila had to fly engineers to this country. Enough money had to be paid to people. And when they flew in their engineers, what did they do? Locals were doing the grunt work. And because the locals knew what to do, some of them were trained. They knew what to do. And so by the time the Granger government left, there was a more cohesive, a more forward-thinking understanding for the management of those Wartsila gensets and so on. A group of local engineers, a group of Guyanese. Y'all go and check it for yourself. Don't just take what I'm saying. Power producers and distributors. And up to now, except if the PPP was vindictive as they were to the Adams, what was his name? The guy from Jamaica, and got rid of him. Except if they ceased to utilize the services of the power producers and distributors company. Up to now, I would want to believe those local engineers are taking, if they are allowed to, of those gensets. The coalition left a working GPL. Yes, you would have had blackout, you would have had scheduled maintenance and so on. But blackouts under the PPP in this era, I would say, has increased thousands of times. Thousands of times. Imagine you fire a man who was proving his competence and replace him with a man that you of yourself were about to dismiss before you were kicked out of government. Huh? And where's the electricity sector now? Faltering. Even worse than when you were in previous government. What development plan the PPP has, really and truly? Next. There was a statement made on this program that I didn't address in depth. Because, like I said, some of these things we will have to continue to talk about today. I remember callers saying that Rickford Burke supports Isaiah Ford candidacy. Miranda just smashed a button. Thank you for the reminder. The country is not stagnant. It's at accelerated development right now. But let me explain what is accelerated development under the PPP. How many of you enjoyed Brewster's ice cream? How many of you knew how long Brewster's ice cream was operating in this country? Never before did Brewster's ice cream have to shut their business down because of the erratic electricity supply. Never before. There's a notice right now. I think it's on God Mosley's page if I'm not lying. Right? That says Brewster's ice cream has shut their business down in Guyana indefinitely. They're projecting that somewhere towards the end of April, they may be able to reopen. Why? Because of the erratic power supply. A lot of their inputs, perishables, have been damaged. And so they now have to take time, go to the drawing boards, come up with a solution for this erratic power supply, put that in place, and then replace their damaged merchandise. And that is what you call development, Miranda. In this day and age, companies, businesses, employers, can you imagine how many young people, especially how many young people's jobs are on the line right now because of the erratic power supply? Who is going to employ them now, Miranda? Where will their income come from? How will they pay their bills? Can you imagine the amount of frustration that you're putting people in? Christine said the business was a failure. And these are the Indians that make I cuss. Because instead of them look at this jackass government and admit that you got a jackass government, they try to blame everybody else. A patient can never be healed unless he or she accepts that first and foremost he or she is ill and they need doctor's intervention. Understand that? And there's a kind of development Miranda and them talking about. I don't understand it. In 2024, and that is boosters. And boosters can say we might get back into business in another month's time when we get the solution. What about the small man, the ordinary man, who might be hustling some ice cream from a freezer home? Or who might be doing some poultry that they got freeze? Y'all talking about that? And so when these clowns talk about development and fast-track development and so on, as a friend of mine told me, they're waiting for Guyanese going to dig up a piece of the road and add some of the dirty water from Guy inside and have it for breakfast, or lunch, or dinner. Don't mind the roads as second quality and mediocre in their constructions. Imagine in 2024, you having roads built without sidewalk. You still have open drains and you're building modern infrastructure you call roadways. And drains are still open. And you're talking that you can't widen a road or a street that was built since Noah was a boy in the 1960s to accommodate jackass cat. You're rebuilding it now and telling people it can't be wider because you don't have space. When all you have to do is the reinforcement alongside the sides of the road, cover the drains, and people will have space. And these clowns call that development. It is better to do half of what they're doing right now and do it with quality, so it will be appropriate and lasting. And when more resources become available, you do the other half. Then these jackasses running around to pitch a road and do a road and do a road and do to say that they're doing. That's all they're doing. I got a photo I'm going to show you what development is. Somebody send the name to me here. Power producers and distributors. White Lane, Kingston, Georgetown, Guyana. Established in December 2016. Established in December 2016. The coalition went into power in 2015. By the end of the year, they had encouraged and brought this on board. is a state-owned enterprise contracted to operate and maintain 4 power plants on the behalf of the GPL. These power plants were previously operated and maintained by Waxilla Operations Guyana. So if y'all think it's nonsense that they're talking, it's in writing. Check the GCCI page, Georgetown Chamber of Commerce of Industry, Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry page. Right? So like I always say, when I come in and talk, I don't come and talk because I want to make PPP look bad. I talk facts. I'm going to show you something. Where is it? Yeah. See it here. We're talking about road construction and quality. You know, some people do just to say they do. Your parents tell you, wash them pots. And you vex. You really up on no pot washing business. But you know you can't rebel. You're going to wash them pots. That's what the PPP they're on. They're doing for say that they do. But how lasting an impact what they do got? How lasting an impact? Yeah, look at this one I'm showing you. Look at that. That is development, Miranda. The road that you see breaking up there, it's in 3 months old. That road is not 3 months old. And look at it. That is one. I'll show you the other one. And guess what? Both of them in Buxton. Both of them are in Buxton. PPP can tell you what. We build road in Buxton. Ask them about the quality of road that they build in Buxton. And they said development taking place. Watch. Talk about that. Talk about that. Good. Development. 5 and 6 and 8 and 10 hours. A blackout in a working day. Roads built and breaking up 2 months after, 2 weeks after. Roads built with such a width that only one vehicle could use it at a time. Only one vehicle. No 2 vehicles can pass side by side. And that is development. Let's move on from that. I was talking about the Rizal Ford matter. Somebody called and said Rizal Ford workers supporting Ford's candidacy because Ford filed the lawsuit against the Guyana government on behalf of Ford. On behalf of Burke. And so it's a quid pro quo, is you watch me and I watch you back or something. I think I started to say that I have no concern in whether or not that is so, or whether or not it is true or false. Ford is a liar. Burke, for want of a better term, is a lobbyist. was work supporting Ford prior to the lawsuit being filed? I'm sure I know that that was the case. But is there anything wrong in I exchanging my services for yours? Mark Benchcop is advertising for me. I'm advertising for Mark. Both of us, we're providing a value to each other. What is wrong with that? Is there a conflict of interest there? Tell me out. I don't see a conflict of interest. I don't see a problem. How Burke and Ford chooses to deal with the issue is a matter for Burke and Ford. But like I said, Ford is a legitimate member of the PNC, and so he has a right to aspire to the leadership of the PNC. Right? So those of you who have the opinion or are trying to create the opinion that I have a problem with what Ford does to Burke or Burke does to Ford, put it in your pipe and smoke it. It doesn't affect me in any way. Those are two adults. Both of them have services to offer, and so they can decide how they trade with these services. Right? Good. I said this morning there's snakes in the grass. They got a lot of snakes in the grass. They got some people that's come on these programs just to create sesh. They got some people that sit in political chats just to create sesh. Attention grabbers. I got a friend used to say their ass is attention. They're suffering from attention-seeking syndromes. We have to be careful. We have to be aware of those people because we're going to end up dividing each other over stupidness. If there's your intention, don't bring me in it. Snakes in the grass. There are lots of snakes in the grass. I saw Kaicho News reporting, in case you didn't see it, that the Guyana government surreptitiously, quietly, easily, like a thief in the night, went to the CCJ to try to overturn the court's ruling on, I think, that EPA matter and Exxon and Guyana. You mean a group of people could be so desperate to do harm to their own country that while the court has ruled and the citizens are resting at night, they are working through the night to empower foreign nationals to continue to do harm to us? Can you imagine that? Y'all got snakes in the cabinet. I think the Calypso was snakes in the barrister or something like that. We got a set of snakes in national government here. What you just do with snake? I saw people burn the whole building to get rid of snakes in it. We gotta get rid of these snakes. Today's Monday. First days back at school. I hope the teachers are planning to go on strike from tomorrow, because that matter is not yet fixed. Right? That matter is not yet fixed. But let's tell you, like I promised, I'm going to give you some information. There is no money to pay teachers according to the government of Ghana. But the government is spending $150 million allegedly on Burna Boy. Right? Reports have emerged from government sources indicating that the government of Ghana is set to allocate a staggering $150 million in support of the upcoming Burna Boy concert. Sources close to the Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport, Charles Ramsey, have confirmed that the government, through Ramsey's ministry, will be extending its support to facilitate the concert. Radio advertisements promoting the event conspicuously omit any mention of government's involvement. Instead, they attribute the concert's organization to Hits and Jams, ENET, and One Guyana. The inclusion of One Guyana in particular raises eyebrows, as it is not an established institution or organization, but rather a government slogan. This choice appears to be deliberate in order to distance the government from the event, perhaps in anticipation of the lashback that will come when people find out. So here is your government, Miranda, talking about development. Development comes through education. But your government is willing to spend $150 million to bring Burna Boy to Ghana for a concert. I will tell you what I know. Dictators and oppressors appease the people by bringing circuses and clowns, entertainment, so that the people can be distracted from the excesses of the government because they focus on entertainment. Right? Burna Boy, I will tell you, is not a cheap artist. Word out on the street is that he charges $1 million US for a concert. $1 million US is 200 million Ghana dollars, right? You tell me. And that's just the artist fee. You have to advertise, there are lots of other things which they will have to do for the artist. You tell me, between Hits and Jams and ENET, if you believe they would expend 200 million Ghana dollars to host Burna Boy, I am saying I'm of the firm belief they won't. Because for very many reasons. The cost that you can charge for a ticket in Ghana, given the economy, does not guarantee that enough people will be able to buy those tickets at those costs for you to get back your investment plus return on investment. And so you will only expend that kind of money if you have the government or some other organization subsidizing your cost. And how will they subsidize your cost? For every ticket that you sell under the real market value, they pay you the difference. So for every ticket that is being sold for $6,000, that's a 30 US dollars. The government might be either paying the other 30 or other 70 for 100 US dollars. I don't know what these concerts cost overseas. But I'm sure that they expend in excess of $200 million to bring an artist here is not likely to happen, because the ticket prices that you can charge here are not likely to be able to bring you back that investment and return on investment. And the Jamaicans say, if you not so, it close to so. If you not so, it close to so. Even if the government is not investing $150 million in that concert, they are investing Guyanese money in that concert. For the simple fact, One Guyana is there as one of the sponsors. What is One Guyana? It's a government slogan. Slogans don't sponsor nothing. Chips. And if we were in a real democracy, by tomorrow perhaps we could have asked a question of the Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture and gotten an answer to say, well, yes, the Ghana government is investing X dollars in this concert. But I believe if you want to live long and you wait for that declaration, you are going to live long. The lines are open. 6225933 is the number to call. Somebody say, look and see the majority of people gonna be there. You know what? The majority of people on the boat cruise yesterday. Imagine you had more people left than on the boat. Yeah. You didn't easy at all. Yeah. Where are the regulators to ensure that the tickets being sold for these events are not more than the capacity of the venue? In this instance, the capacity of the boat. Where was the health and safety measures in terms of ensuring that the capacity of the boat was not exceeded? Call it live. Thank you for holding.
Said, but we got to do our best and leave the rest for Mr. Arvinat. You mentioned about teachers. I'm glad you mentioned about teachers. Why? And you use the word, if them go right back to strike tomorrow. I said long, the teachers them did not win. They lost. Now I said the teachers them and the union supposed to give back the government a new package. And the package.
But Flash just said already. Why are you going back to it? After you don't say it. Huh?
Because people were saying Flash God is wrong to say.
But Flash, we don't deal with it. Why we still dealing with it?
Anyway, I myself looking forward for the teacher to go back on strike. Good. Over the weekend, I was talking to my niece about politics. And she mentioned to me something. She said that my uncle, they cannot find nothing upon Arvinat because he is clean like the board of health. I said, what? And she repeated to me. And when she finished speaking, it's what come to me. The word of God again. Let your light shine before men, that they could see your good works and glorify the Father which is in heaven. My God, my God. And I said, you know what? Exactly about Abinatu. Abinatu, let your light shine before my black brothers and sisters and all Guyanese in Guyana from since 1972 and said, where did he join the PNC? That is the reason why I'm rallying behind Abinatu, because he light shine. He light shine when he said these words will not stand alone and let Jando take everything away from black people. And he going to that election without the help of WPA. But one thing WPA did, they encouraged voters to go out and vote. But AFC walk away. And AFC leader knew what Jando all about is to control everything. And if Ramdatan, we talk about politics, if Ramdatan we love black people in Guyana, he would have never walked away from Abinatu. He will stay with that and prove to black people that look, all hands on that now, because we will not make Jando take away everything. That is how Abinatu prove he light before the vote of them on there. Black people, be careful. Dark days. Jando talk about dark days. Let not Jando kill our children in school. Remember what his supporters them did. They go to kill them black children. Don't say Jando when we go back there. It's election time, and my black brother and sister must remember these things and vote for somebody who will represent them, vote, protect them, vote, and make them benefit of their vote. The second incident, when police supporters go in school compound and threaten our black children them and tell them, don't come back here, this school belongs to police. Nobody, no lawyer for the PNC side pick up that case up to now. Nobody get jailed. The third time, what you expect them to do? You don't have to go to college or university all the time. They will come and kill our school children. And black man never put a stop into that now. No one never. Stand up and fight, my black brother and sister. Don't say Flash God, why you don't come and do it. I can't come and do it. I'm a citizen for America. But I could still give a word or two advice and encourage. My grandma teach me nothing come to black people easy in this world. She said we have to fight for it, fight for it. It belongs to us. Stand up and face. We have to step out of this nonsense world, democracy. It does not benefit us. Why we must live by the word democracy? And it only benefits only people when we live by the word, and only people do not live by the word democracy. It is time for we love, please what the flag God now said, love, unity, and support. Let us come together. One love. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I'm informed that when Burna Boy performs in the US, the tickets are 200 US and up. 40,000 Guyana dollar. What are they charging you for a ticket? 6,000 and so? Check it out for yourself. So the maths in, y'all tell me. Call your life.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Amsterdam, and good morning, everyone in the Guyanese diaspora. Good morning to all Guyanese. I'd like to talk about two quick, brief things. A little bit. First of all, let me also say that what Flash had said, or had just said, is on point with regards to fighting. We need to shift our narrative to going on the offensive. Two things I'd like to talk to about this morning is about the constitutional eclipse and the political eclipse that Guyanese are experiencing. What is the constitutional eclipse? The constitutional eclipse is when the light, the intent of the Constitution isn't been allowed to reach the people. The political eclipse is when the politicians get in the way of that light, reaching the people and using the apparatus, just as the moon blocks the light from reaching the earth. So are politicians creating an eclipse of the constitutional light to reach the people. Today is April the 8th, 2024, and the entire planet will be experiencing a complete solar eclipse. So I just want to tie what is happening above in the sun, moon, and stars to what is happening below to the people who are living under the sun, moon, and stars. So in an allegorical way, I am tying universal order to societal order because they are one and the same. Once again, thank you for giving me the time to explain that to you. I just wanted us to be able to relate and to be able to look at how we are being denied enlightenment.
Thank you for your call.
Who are the persons who are interfering with that? Thank you for accepting the call.
Thank you. Call hold the line, please. I don't want to forget this one. Through the grapevine, I want to say it was whispered that the First Lady went to Disneyland over the Easter weekend with 45 children or so. It's alleged that she went there. Any of y'all hear about that? 45 children taken to Disneyland by the First Lady. That's the allegations that have met this desk. We have not heard anything about it in the public domain. So if it did take place, I would want to understand why it took place, who are the people taken, or what the privilege they were, and why we don't know what the First Lady is doing. She just tells me when she's giving out sanitary napkins. Why she didn't tell me she carried people to Disneyland if she took people to Disneyland? Call your life.
Good morning, Brother Kidaki.
And I can further say a little more to you, Assalamu alaikum, because of your West African looks this morning. You know, it was said that 75% of the slave ships were Muslim who came from West Africa, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Ghana.
Think I send me a come, me come. Me rule them. But it's a conscious lyric, and me nah ban it down. Me rule them. You must think them send me. But I come, yeah. Morning, I'm trying to change the weather in this country. It's hot and dusty. Morning, neighbor morning. Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kiraki Amsterdam. It is 7 hours 26 on the 9th day of April in the year 2023. How have you been? How was your yesterday? We're keeping you going today. How optimistic are you about today? What are your plans for today? How you plan to change the happenings in this place? What do you plan to do to make a difference? What do you plan to make a difference? A lot of people want the difference. There are some answers, everybody want to raid the barn. Nobody want to plant the corn. Right? How do you plan to make a difference? By just raiding the barn? Or you going to put your shoulders to the plow? I think in this instance, we really need people to put their shoulders to the plow. Because it's hard work. It's not easy. What part are you willing to play? I'm just asking these questions. I want to know the answers. I don't have the answers. I saw since yesterday or sometime somebody was saying, and I'm seeing Plank Thomas saying perhaps the same thing. It is time Guyana put forward a woman for president to challenge the PPP. And that woman is likely to lead, to win, because they won't attack women. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about. Plank, you don't know what you're talking about. The PPP? You sure? Go sit down and talk with Varshini Jagdeo. Well, she can't be Jagdeo. Talk with Varshini. I don't know if the PPP people that attack women. I remember a man named Kilaman Lal. Yeah, it's what Kilaman Lal. I think I was told recently they're quietly in Venezuela. I can't remember what he did there. I can't remember who did. But yeah, I remember the man. Don't be fooled. I heard a story about a certain big one at a certain government office recently who is alleged did just what his body is alleged to have done previously. Unlive his wife. Y'all know who is the PPP? Yeah, best trust yourself. Yeah, best trust yourself. Abigail Candace, great point. We got to think for ourselves. We got people thinking for us. Hey, shocking vibes are going on. But some of us would see the solution right in front there. And you don't embrace it because it didn't come from you, number one. And number two, it didn't look like you. You get that? It didn't look like you. And so you can't embrace it. Guyana needs all of its children. We all got to put our shoulders to the wheel if we're going to turn this donkey around. Good? I don't know who David the Cook is, but David the Cook said that Kiraki bias, one-sided. Yeah. And the ACDC type, so it gotta be one-sided. Forward ever, backward never. David the Cook. Some of y'all see one-sidedness in front of y'all don't even know it. Those of you come here on a daily basis to tell people about all the good things y'all believe the PPP doing. Y'all ain't one-sided, y'all blind. Y'all are blind. Because you're looking at the surface. And you're not checking the foundation. So if it's shiny, if it glitters, it's gold, it's good. Because the other day over at Annandale, they right a stone's throw for me, obliquely opposite where I am. They had a contractor building street in the night. Over the weekend, apparently the engineer came and examined the street, drilled it to see if the requirements were met. Bops! Job can be passed. Job cannot be passed. Because what? Requirements weren't met. Who money involved? Taxpayers. Ask the people down at, I think that might be Calendar Street. In less than 4 hours, they resurface it. So go ask about the foundation and so on. You're blind. You're just looking at the top. It's shiny, glittery. I said good for how long? David the Cook again with his foolishness. Abno did nothing for Buxton. And so I sit here talking. PNC or Abno can't go into Buxton because they would be kicked to the curb. David the Cook, stop spreading propaganda. It's Buxton I live. Buxton I live. I've been kicked to the curb. The Buxtonians got a problem, let us find me. As a matter of fact, let me tell people in relation to the friendship, Baghdam side issue, land issue. The NDC, for my information, has served a cease and desist order on Napi, as they call him. Hema. What Hema he is? Can't remember right now. I'm going to tell you all though. But not Kenneth Hema. He's where is he? Leroy Hema, also known as Napi. The NDC has served a cease and desist order on him in terms of the clearing of the backlands there, or the lands at back of Friendship. He has so far resisted in that he has not stopped. But what is of import is that the government is aiding and abetting this misbehavior, because the NDIA has not stopped either. The Ministry of Agriculture has not withdrawn their equipment either. I think a sensible government and responsible ministers of government and prominent secretaries and so on, as soon as a dispute arises on cases like these, would have taken the necessary action to prevent further damage or further injury. And so even if it's part of their developmental plan to assist to clear lands for, let's say, farmers, then once a dispute arises, the correct thing to do, the responsible thing to do, is to cease and desist, stop the work. Especially if the NDC, the local area authority, has reached out to you to indicate that there's a problem there. But no, that is continuing. And so BUXTONIANs and friendship residents and so on are going to be at rat among themselves, because it is not everybody who will allow their lands to be coveted by Leroy M and friends of the government too. People are going to come into confrontation with each other. And then you might hear about murder, you might hear about bloodshed, you might hear about all kinds of injuries, and definitely you're going to hear about police. Right? Definitely you're going to hear about police. David the Cook, you could do the walk around boxing yourself. I don't have points to prove. There are a lot of things y'all don't understand about a lot of people and a lot of cultures. So I don't have to prove any point with you. I want to put you to the test. Send Jagio and Anil to the US for vacation. Send Jagio and Anil to the US for vacation. If they go successfully and come back, I can walk around boxing and ask donation support for the PNC. I'm a leading member of the WPA. And I guarantee you, if I walk this community in the name of the WPA, you will have quite a surprise. I also guarantee you that when the PNC people decide that they want to walk Buxton for support, you will be quite surprised. So you could stay in the office of the Prime Minister and run your mouth. Right? So residents are alerted once again that the misbehavior of Napi, Leroy Amer, continues at the back of friendship. And the government continues to aid and abet. They continue to help him to disrespect and disregard the rights of villagers. Right? So please be alerted. And as one person tell me, you could tell the people do what they want to protect their land. Good? Tell the people do what they want to protect their land. Now let me tell you, in case you didn't realize or you weren't aware, that the matter of the Guyana Public Service Co-op Credit Union and that special general meeting and elections and so on is perhaps concluded. I hope it has reached its finality, because yesterday the judge ruled that this matter must come to an end, and so the elections must be treated as above board, and so the people who were recently elected, must be allowed to take management of the Guyana Public Service Co-op Credit Union. Good. In summary, the judge ruled that the CCDO, that is the Chief Co-op Development Officer, has no mandate to intervene in the matter. Remember, a few weeks ago, we were told that he had written to Team Ben, let's say, and asked them for some kind of information. And if I remember that time, Mentor responded that he wasn't going to provide any information because the matter was before the court. Right? Well, I think Mentor has been vindicated in that decision, because the judge ruled that the CCDO, that's the Chief Co-op Development Officer, has no mandate to intervene in the matter. The elected members must be allowed to take up their positions And again, the CCDO has no jurisdiction in that matter, and so the CCDO should not be interfering with the elected members taking up their positions. And if there's a grievance that still exists, then those people can approach the court. Say it is said separately, and I think it's simply interpreted as you can approach the court. You could file a new matter before the court. And the judge, of course, said that the matter must come to an end, and it has been going on for too long. And so let things proceed. Senior counsel Neil Boston was rebuked, according to the information, by the justice for allowing his clients to disregard the results of the court-ordered election. Right? That rebuke there brought, in my mind, an issue to the forefront. That is, a lot of the officers of the court, why do you take lawyers? Let me start here. Why do you need lawyers? Or counselors, as they say. A lot of people believe that when you take a counselor, a lawyer, the job of the lawyer is to get you off. But as far as I understand, the job of the lawyer is to ensure justice is done. And there's a difference between getting you off and justice is done. In other words, if you're guilty, then the lawyer is not supposed to be, in the strict sense, be deceitful to cover up your guilt. That's not what the law perhaps says. And so I sit and I watch ever so often. In places like the US and so on, lawyers get disbarred and things for misbehaving. But in Ghana, members of the legal fraternity are like gods, man. They do no wrong. They do no wrong. Some of them mistreat their clients. They do no wrong. Some of them misrepresent facts. They do no wrong. And so here is a senior legal man having to be rebuked by the court because what? He can't stand the ground and say to his clients, no, y'all can't do this. This is wrong. His first consideration is what? My clients are paying me. My clients are paying me. And therefore, if I give them advice that they don't like, it's likely that they will fire me. Is that what we're saying? Come on. So the court had to rebuke Neil Boston there. Good. What are some of the other things I want to talk about this morning? We started talking about, we spoke about a lot of things yesterday. Everybody has been reaching out to me to comment on the Granger interview on Mark Benschop's show. Benschop's shows. What is it? The Voice of Anansi or something like that. Benschop and Granger were revisiting history. And I said to you that tomorrow, Dr. Hines will be here and we are going to talk a lot about Granger's recollection of history, Granger's assessment of the WPA, and stuff like that. So from where I stand, my comments are simple. It's admirable that Granger can remember the past so well and discuss it so fluently. But it is unfortunate that Granger has lost his short-term memory because events as recent as 2020, Granger has not found the time to discuss on any of Mark's program so that the man and woman who supported his candidacy and his presidency and his government and all of that can have a clear understanding of what transpired. And so one might argue that the gentleman, the elderly man, has selective memory. Right? He is selective in the things he remembers and discusses. I must ask why. Why? This is a man. When I listened to Granger on that interview, said, the least you say, or the least you say, the more I learn, or stuff like that. Because sometimes you don't always listen or read on the line. You have to go in between the lines. And I don't know how many of you recognize it, but based on his assessment of the WP on that program, I think that is why he treated with the WP the way he treated with the WP. Good? That's my assessment. We will delve deeper into that tomorrow with Dr. Hines. Right? We will delve deeper into that tomorrow with Dr. Hines. But I can say to you, I don't think there's a fight between David Granger and the WP, or even the PNC and the WP. The period of that fight is long gone. And the problem with many of our political leaders, national political leaders, is that they fail over the years to recognize the changes of the time. USSR is no longer blocked. There's no longer the Cold War going on. But many of our political leaders have failed to recognize that times have changed. And they have to change with the time, or they're going to be left behind. And if they hold on, they will keep us back. And that is where Guyana is right now. That is right where Guyana is. A lot of the people who, when you talk about the ills of the PPP, cuss out, and first attempt to label you racist and biased and one-sided and so on. A lot of them are not living in Guyana. I can tell you that for a start. A lot of them have not been back here in recent times. And so what a lot of them hear is second-hand or third-hand or fourth-hand information. But what they have in the forefront of their minds is their experiences of a long time gone. And so that is what they are using to inform them. Them dealing their experiences. Every time you criticize the PPP, you can hear people come and say, our PNC do for Guyana, I will not dal for make road, for make I will not flour for make roti and peas to make that. And how long was that? How old were you then? And so nothing has changed from then to now. And so that is what they used to inform them. And so every time you criticize the modern government, the government of 2024, they take you back to the government of 1964 or 1984. Sometimes it's frustrating, but it's also it's also interesting, let me see. To recognize or to examine human psychology, how people think, how people form their ideas. And that is why we always talk about re-educating yourself, retooling. And so when it was okay to chop cane with Plan X in 1960, nowadays they're talking about machine harvesting. But if the man who was harvesting cane in the 1960s stuck to the Plan X and did not upgrade his skill, when machines start to harvest, he's out of a job. He's left behind. His family will be stagnated because he's not earning. That is what they will let have us in this society. And all of them who sit down in Canada and the UK and US and so on, because they left for whatever reason, they're not helping. Because that's the Guyana they know or can think about. The next generations, all of those children who born in Canada and the US and so on and go to one or two Guyanese parents and therefore claim Guyanese heritage, that they socialize the hate, they come up and they perpetuate the same ignorance that their parents perpetuating. And they get that information from third and fourth and fifth hand. But those of us who live here, and we see daily, when last you had a day without blackout, for example, you see daily what is happening in this society. And you talk about it, they say, you racist, I become a coolie government. No. I'm very objective because it's a failing government. It's a failing government. And if you can't call a government out for failing, then how are you going to get them to do what is right? How are you going to get them to move the country forward? It is alleged that the government is about to invest $100 million. Is that what the amount is? 150 million? $200 million? To bring an artist here. What could $200 million, $150 million do to improve the quality of life of Guyanese? Entertainment will relax them for, let's give it a maximum 48 hours. Yeah, by the Boy concert was off the rocks. But what happens after Burna Boy has left? Our children are still hungry. Their parents who still can't provide for their children. There's still a large group of young out-of-school people who can't find employment. Have you looked around recently at the number, or have you looked around recently and taken note of the number of young people who are dressed in a security service uniform? Some of them ill-fitting, but don't worry, they fit the uniform. When you look at your society and a whole large number of your out-of-school young people are in a security uniform, what does it say to you? The education system has failed them to start with. In a society where it would seem as though construction is booming, you're not finding the majority of your young people in the construction sector. It means that you fail to prepare them for this boom. So they are not the welders, they're not the masons, they're not the carpenters, they're not the electricians. They're not even the architects and draftsmen and so on. They are the security guards. They are the security guards. And they are your young people. So when the older heads who are skilled in these areas die out or become incapacitated, what happens to your society? And some people are going to argue to say, at least they're working. How long will they be able to do that job? What are the long-term impact on their health and the healthcare system? Can you imagine your young people, 18, 19, 20, let's say 19, 20, 21, in the security sector, losing rest, day in, day out, what they are working for in terms of salaries, being inadequate to ensure that they get a balanced meal, at least daily, to ensure that they have the necessary nutrition for what they're doing. Can you imagine the long-term impact of that? Some people call it madness, some people call it nervous breakdown. I'm talking about the deterioration of the mental and the physical over time. Yes, Reza, and that's a fact. Security needs educated people too. Security needs educated people too. As a matter of fact, I dare argue that a lot of the young people who are in the security system are educated. Many of them would have gotten at least a 5 or 7 or 8 CXC subjects. But that's my point. This system does not provide for the upward mobility by way of their education. Apart from that, The fact that so many of them have to go to the security sector says that their educations were their education was not properly planned. Let me reiterate, we are supposed to be in a construction boom. Where are our skilled people? Where's the upgrade to the technical and vocational training centers? And when I say upgrade, I'm not talking about improvement on a building. I'm talking about upgrade curriculum. I'm willing to bet that if you go to GITC, you go to GTI, you go to NATI, you go to LTI, the courses that they offer are courses that have been there for the last several generations. In an oil producing era in this country. So it's a failure of the system. And so if we want better for the nation, if we want better for the people of the nation, we have to stop thinking in those era and think for the now. Nowadays, I mean, I was talking with one of my former students the other day, and we had a good laugh because he was encouraging me, Mr. Sam, AI is it now? AI is it now? Jenny Arrow is saying that her son who got 10 CXC subjects, 10 subjects was forced to do security. And you had to work for 12 hours or more without anything to eat or no release at times. So he quit. Sandra is telling us sleep deprivation also can cause one's brain cells to die. This can lead to dementia and Alzheimer's in the long term. Yes, Dennis, GITC is opposite Critchlow. So these are the kind of things I'm talking about. So at least I know Sandra and Jenny and so on, they were the program. But you're telling me that these people that we are paying daily from the coffers of this nation, these people are supposed to be charge-free and the cream of the crop and all kind of things, have no intuition to recognize or to even think of these long-term impact on the society. Because Alzheimer's and dementia is a call on the healthcare. Nervous breakdown, as we like to say, is a call on healthcare. Yes, Dennis, GITC opposite Critchlow is still operational. And while we should be improving these tech voc institutions, Amobi Sayinka, I really want Amobi. I'll tell you, Amobi, Amobi is a tech voc specialist. As a matter of fact, at one point in time, I think he was leading up tech voc education in Ghana until the PPP found wherever the man named Chinedu, was it Chinedu? Abobi, I wish you can tell us that story. Maybe you can call and tell us what happened there in terms of Tech Voc and you and Chinedu and the wickedness of the PPP and so. Yes. So instead of investing the resources of the nation to improve on Tech Voc education, for example, so more of our young people get employment and benefit from the construction boom. And that's a skill that they will acquire that would be a lifelong skill because people are always building, even if it's a coup. A dark pen, as we like to say, chicken pen. Right? Instead of doing that, the government of Guyana continues to take our resources and give it to their friends and family and cronies and deal with third party and fourth party and so on. So everybody gets a kickback. And by the time the investment reaches to the student, it is so watered down that it can hardly impact their lives. Right? I saw the government of Guyana signing the other day some kind of memorandum of understanding for some foreign institution to do technical education in Guyana. When that same commitment could have been given to the local institutions to improve their curriculum. At the end of the day, you bring a foreign institution to do the job, they do the job, they're gone, and your institutions don't grow. Amobi is telling us that I think the GITC is still entry level. They have no diploma courses, none. But some people call that progress. Some people say I'm one-sided when I point out feelings like these. Some people say I'm racist when I criticize an Indian-dominated government. Am I really the problem? Or the problem is with your government and you, those of you who got a day mentality and supporting them? We can do better. Okay, thank you for that clarification, Amobi. Amobi said Cheney doing had nothing to do with him leaving the TVET Council. Right? But like Amobi, there are many, many professionals across this society who have skills that could benefit the upward mobility of our youngsters. But the government doesn't utilize it, refuses to acknowledge it in many instances, simply because what? These people don't look like them. These people are not playing ball with them. But oh, it's because of racism make we talking about it. How will we get our just due? If one side of the divide, because there is a divide, cannot come to acknowledge that, hey, our government is not doing right by this country. And some people might ask, why are you saying one side? Why are you saying one side? Well, let me explain why I say one side. Even I spoke about Guyanese program on Mark the other day. Even that discourse painted the WP as being, as I want to say, an enemy of the people. For joining with the PPP and other opposition parties at the time to challenge what was interpreted then as a misbehavior of the sitting government. Go back and you look at it, and you'll come to recognize how many African Guyanese joined the struggle, joined the fight against an African Guyanese government for better governance and for fair treatment of Indo-Guyanese who were claiming that they were being discriminated against. And that struggle waged for years. That struggle resulted in changing government, changing institutions, etc. But when the very people were complaining of being discriminated against, were given power, they in turn became the abusers. They became the abusers. And their supporters who were supported to challenge a system that they considered abusive to them are turning a blind eye. Instead of doing just what the other set of people did previously to quote unquote right a perceived wrong. Well, Odessa Natoya is asking, were they being discriminated against? Let the historians answer that. But from where I stand, no. They were not being discriminated against. They were not being discriminated against. But they were shouting the loudest, and so people believe them, I guess. And so for whatever it's worth, one section of the society came out in defense of another section and fought for good or better governance. But when that section had the opportunity to lead, what did they do? And what are they continuing to do? How are we going to change a society like that? I believe for the greater part, if we left them old people that day thinking aside, and their day influences, the young people can move this nation forward. But are we willing? Or are people comfortable with the imbalance in this society? Parmanan said it was more than misbehavior. It was total dictatorship and oppression. Parmanan, I bet you if you check with an open mind, compare from Fobbs Barnum government all the way down to Desmond Wright, or come right down to David Granger. I'm positive you will find more human rights abuses under the PPP than you will find under those governments that I mentioned. I'm positive. There were more state killings or state-sponsored killings under the PPP government than there would ever have been under this government that Parmanan described as total dictatorship and oppression. But is Parmanan willing to accept that, acknowledge that? Look at the number of unsolved crimes there are. Murders especially. In this society, this modern society, compare them to the dictatorship and oppressive government that you're talking about. And that is what I'm talking about. Parmanan is one of them from the Dina Day time. And they will use their Dina Day minds to influence the now generation. At least their now generation. And the wheel continues. We can't afford that. We have to do better as a people. Until such time that the likes of Parmanan and the next generation come to the point of acknowledging that wrong is wrong, and we will chant it down. I don't know we're changing. But what I know for a fact, that with the continued imbalance in this society, a lot of people are going to feel the squeeze. And they're going to blame another set of people for it. And so the rift, the divide, is going to become wider. Let me make it stark for you. When them black people picnic, can't provide for themselves and can't be provided for, they're going to start to take from who get. And who get going to start to see them as the enemy. And in most instances, they're going to stand up for defend the thing. And then black people picnic will also stand up for the right to live. And so we're going to end up with some serious clashes in this society. And maybe the cycle will just continue of us clashing with each other and hating each other for decades after, and then clashing with each other and hating each other for decades after. I think there's an easier solution. And I know you know that there should be an easier solution. The lines are opened. 6225933 is the number to call. You're tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. Let's start the thing. In a modern society, as I wait for your calls, in a modern society, when the rest of the world is delving into modernity, Guyanese can't even accept, or Guyanese can't even do international business and accept international payment without having to do a bank transfer and international money order and all of that. When other people can be selling tamarind balls in another territory and you can sit here and pay them via PayPal as one of the electronic platforms, Guyanese can't accept a dime in payment for any of the produce or anything with such ease. They got to jump through hoops to be able to get their payments. How do you expect industry and commerce and the cottage industry and indigenous industries to develop and grow? This government in a modern time has no modern thinking. Call your life.
Yes, good morning. Good morning to you and all my black brothers and sisters in Guyana. Help is on the way, but we have to do our best for Abin and lead the rest for him. I want to talk about two words quick this morning. One is protest, and the next one is rally. Two words, two different meaning. You see, rally represent the word meeting, where you mobilize the people, then inform them what's going on, and let them know, get ready for the next election, and what the government is doing to the country, and the money coming in, and the people that is not benefit from it. To me, rally represents sun. It do not wake up the government. It do not make the government to understand there is a serious problem in the country. But the word protest, it represents a stone. You know, when you tell somebody a stone, it give them pain or you bust them head. That is what protest does do. Protest does even make business people call the government and say, hey, we're losing billions of dollars. It's time for you to do something. What I'm saying this morning to my black brother and sister, It is time for we start represent the world rally and represent protests. It is time for the demand from the government. Our children deserve better. It is time for black people come together and go outside there where you talk about all hands on deck and coalition. It is time for we go outside there on the street and shut the business down. Get the government attention. That is how you will get change. That is how the government will know what you're doing to us. It is wrong. We gotta stop talking and we teach too much of it. There's nothing more to teach. But there's time to protest. Let me demonstrate that word from today or tomorrow. Start protesting and see you get change. If we could protest in front of that building, Black Party, Black Friday, night 12 o'clock, for go and spread where we get and credit, why we can't protest for our children's rights and get jobs and don't bend on security job. I'm not condemning the job. But how can you get 10 subject and you got to open your eyes all night? It is unfair to black people and Guyanese is called. Don't wait for Mr. Abinatu. It's the people that have to represent the word protest, not a leader. A leader does represent the word rally because you got to bring the people them together, mobilize them and all this. But we are the people. The citizens have to represent the word protest. And that is how Jack Joe run away with murder, because we are not protesting. We have to start protest. Forget about that word, rally, and start protest. Thank you very much for your time.
Call live. Good morning.
Good morning, Brother Kadaki, and good morning to your listeners. Just a few things I want to know. You talked about the building boom that we are enjoying in this country and the lack of Guyanese, skilled Guyanese there to satisfy that need. The thing is, in order for you to get skilled personnel, you need to have skilled teachers, and that's what we've been lacking. We have not been encouraging our teachers to who have developed any modicum of skilled through experience to stay in this country. One minister of education once said, let them go, we can train more because they're going to send back remittances. We are seeing the effect of that today. You know, that minister, we all know him. He is our friend, but you know, it was a mistaken concept because it's biting us today. The system also recognized that the people who have been moving toward technical training, because we grew up in communities where our elders, black elders, were the skilled craftsmen. They apprenticed young men within the community. But today, with these major because we know government contracts are the source from which people really make wealth. And our small businesses did not meet the requirements to get those things. So people from our communities never really got into the governmental contracting business, and they were swamped out. Because these big contractors, when they don't have a big government contract, they take the small jobs. So our people eventually were pushed out. Our people went to Barbados, Antigua, wherever, and they started to work because they were not encouraged to stay around. But coming back to the need for training. So what is happening today is that we are bringing indentured servants. Indentured servants, by the way, were those people who were used after 1838 to displace our foreparents from the plantation. Because when our foreparents were demanding proper wages, they didn't want to pay them that. So they tax our communities and even use that money to bring in indentured servants who some will want to say they were like strike breakers, scabs. And we are seeing a similar situation today where our nurses are being displaced because our nurses are saying, look, we want better pay. No, we won't pay you better pay because you are black. We will bring people from Bangladesh. Our skilled welders are not present, so we bring the Venezuelans in, we bring in the people from even Santo Domingo, that racist place in the Caribbean, are coming here today. So we have to be careful as a people. And as brother just said, we need to be protesting. Because unless we protest, our situation will not improve. We cannot depend on leaders because the leaders, as he said, are there to rally us, bring us to meetings. But we know where our shoes are pinching us, so we need to protest. And unless we protest, things will not get better. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you for your call. We got some voice notes. I tried to mix them.
Very blessed good morning, Mr. Kadaki, and the rest of the Guyanese nation in and out of the diaspora. To all those who are listening, I want to say hallelujah. Give God the highest praise, glory, honor, and thanks. He deserves it. Guyanese is so it goes, is so it works. Thank God the team Ben now is in position. He will place in position. Thank God for the judge. Judge that passes order and show that it be carried out. Thank God for that. We are going to get there by the grace of God, but we got to resist the wrong. And for the teachers, them, I'm trusting by the grace of God that they continue what is right. Continue this time they got again, or what they got to do. Do it to the glory of God. Stand up in righteousness, and we will defeat this wicked and evilness. Imagine this government, they are easy to support, born by coming to Guyana. For help lead the young people them astray with party and dancing and wind up and bubble up on themselves. And they got a big problem. How much 200 million, how much they contributed to them, or 150 million. And they got a problem to give the teachers them a better salary. And the Guyana teacher is on the pay throughout the whole Caribbean in comparison to other Caribbean countries. It's a shame and a disgrace. And this is what I want the Guyanese nation to really understand and see. The righteous minded and heart. You can see clearly the government are supporting evil. They are supporting poverty and the downfall of this of families, generation, and this nation. And we got to resist it and get them out of there regardless of what. So I'm calling on the righteous people, please, y'all vote when the time reach for what is right, or in what way it can happen. We got to stand up for righteousness. It's amazing to see those that are supposed to be leaders, where they are leading and trying to lead this nation to the pit of hell. They are trying to lead us where we're born and by trying to lead the rest. However, Guyanese, have a blessed day, and we're going to get there by the grace of God. Mr. Kadaki, once again, stand up and what is right, my brother, continue what is right. The only thing I was annoyed with Mr. Granger for within the past is that he did not come and address this nation after the election. To be the invited man right now for the position, that if he had done what was right. And because he didn't know what was right, many people have turned their mind and their back and feel hurt and feel rejected. And that's why, however, have a blessed day, Mr. Kadaki. Once again, God bless us. Make sure we going to get there by the grace of God, because of whom God have all praise, glory, and thanks. Thank you, Mr. Kadaki.
Thank you for your voice note. Remember, if you're looking for immigration help, you can call Bench Club on 917-714-1082 or email markbenchshop@yahoo.com. That's for the Bench Shop Consultancy Immigration Law. Good? So go ahead and make those calls. Those of you who want a visa or want your children to get the visas, on all of the other immigration issues and so on, you can consult with my Ben Shop Consultancy Immigration Law. Call your life.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Good morning, everyone in the Guyanese diaspora. Good morning to all Guyanese. You know, looking at the PPP, and I want this message to reach the Guyanese people who are sitting around and listening and wondering about a lot of things. You know, when I look at the PPP, they claim to be liking African Guyanese, so they bring Burna Boy. But they don't bring Burna Boy because they like African Guyanese. They bring Burna Boy for the same reason they supported Hits and Jams. They really mean to undermine the Guyanese, African Guyanese, and undermine us by going through our culture. You see? Because you could hear the flip side of how Ravi Dave, who is the mindset of PPP's ideology, you hear how they think about us. That they intended, we are so diminished in their ideology. So they don't really mean to support Burna Boy. See, Ravi Dave gives the flip side of PPP's thinking. So you get to understand why they running with Hits and Jams. Charles Ramsey didn't try to help no. You know, when I look at the PPP, people nowhere, they try to undermine us through our culture. There is a difference. If the PPP cared, they will do the caring thing for school teachers. But instead of caring for school teachers, the guardians of our children in the schools and the nation, they rather take that money and give it to Burna Boy so they could infiltrate us. You see, their interest is more upon infiltration rather than supporting where support is justified. School teachers. The PPP are arguing against their own logic that teachers in public sector need a 50% raise. It's evident. We see them hustling with who? A Minister of Infrastructure, the Bishop Edgeo. Okay, he's a black man, he's on their side. And what every chance Jack Deere does, what does he do? What does he do? He insults him. Every chance Infant Ali come to a black neighborhood, they insult black people and black officials in front of you, Guyanese, African Guyanese, just so you could see it and know your place. That's what the PPP, they can't help it. And you could see Irfan Ali's mouth just jumping. You ever looked at him close up? He has this vile feeling for black people. Look at him closely when he's in a black neighborhood. His mouth starts to jump and tremble because they have that innate hate for you. But the best way they found that they could penetrate black people is to slither their way in our culture. Right? And we must pay attention to that. That we are being used, but we are being used and excited at the same time. So we aren't supposed to focus on how we've been used. And that's why I go back again to Ravi Dave. I use Ravi Dave because Ravi Dave gives us a glimpse into their mindset of how they think we are so beneath them. And we easily manipulate it culturally. So that's what I just wanted to touch on this morning, rather than go into anything too sophisticated. Once again, thank you for accepting the call.
Thank you for your call. The caller mentioned Bishop Edgeo. And I'm reminded that I saw a few days ago the bishop rebuking truck drivers for the way they use the road, sand truck drivers especially. And a statement that came out in my mind, a statement that stood out, is him saying speeding trucks down a dark road or something to that extent is a recipe for death and world destruction. I'm paraphrasing. which other part of the world a minister can go and tell people about dark roads? The minister that is responsible for those roads to be lit. When I saw the thing, I said, what madness is this? Bishop Ejel is responsible for public infrastructure, but basically is rebuking truck drivers for the way they use the roads, especially given that the roads are dark. So Ejel recognizes the dangers of a dark road, but he has no authority to fix that, or he chooses not to fix it. I'm just asking. I don't have all the answers. I'm just asking. Voice note.
Good morning, Thomas TV. I will continue to keep saying one thing over and over and over. We as a people, I'm talking with our Afro people, always like to sit down and holler, leave it to God, leave it to Jesus. Jesus don't wear pajama, and this kind of stuff. We waiting for somebody to come and save us. This is the problem. And everybody looking at the other person. Right? I mean, it's difficult right now to say that people are catching hell in this country, because when you look at the parties, look and see who are the majority people that are partying in these places. If they got parties and artists coming in 7 days a week, it's 7 days a week. And these parties sold out. People's perspectives seem to be the wrong place. So when we be like, oh, money is circulating, money this, money that. I mean, it's embarrassing. I mean, for example, I know a lot of people who qualified, got a master's, what's not, and they ain't getting nothing for it. Working, carrying home under $100,000 a month. So it is extremely difficult, and we sit down hollering, oh, Jesus want this, Jesus, and I drive down the Euros Highway down, and I looking at them fertile land, I am certain that Afro people in Egypt must get a piece of their land on either right or left side of the Euro Highway. Well, distribution in this country is not being done equally. And the thing about it is that if you go in you want to get a piece of land, a piece of commercial land, the amount of money they want you to pay, you cannot afford it. How many public servants driving a Prado in this country? I mean, we can look at the simple things and get a clear idea of the picture that is happening. When you drive down the road, the people who could look and see who is people who cleaning the road car now, picking up sand, this and all that kind of stuff. I think black people is being relegated to the bottom of the barrel. And this is just my observation. But I think until then, something got to give. All right? We cannot continue like this. And then we sit down hollering, oh, Jesus this, Jesus that, Jesus all the time. No, Jesus ain't save us. And I keep saying one thing. Our ancestors was doing the same thing. But when they realized that nobody was coming to save them after 400 years, they decided to rise up and fight against the slave. This is the only way they got the freedom. They had to fight for it. Because all the beating, the lynching, and what's that was taking place, absolutely nobody was coming to save them. And until we understand this, we is going to be in a similar position. We are already in a similar position because nobody coming to save us.
Thank you for that voice note. I am sure there are others, and the lines remain open. I want to tell you all something. Recently, I've had a number of complaints of people being taken off of the list of dependents, the list of public assistance list. Right? Normally, you have people who, for some reason or other, get public assistance. And recently, I've been getting a number of complaints that a lot of the people who are getting public assistance, despite the fact that their conditions have not changed for the better, have been taken off of the list. In Barbados, for example, their 2 children. One is 6, one is 9, I think, or one is 7, one is 9, who are getting public assistance. When the list came back this time around, the 6-year-old has been taken off of the list. They're from the same family, same conditions of living and everything. The 6-year-old was taken off of the list, and the 9-year-old left on the list. Inquiries proved futile. Nobody could give an explanation why. They just know that they had to take the child out of the list. Well, I did my inquiries. And one of the things I found out was that across this country, instead of the social workers themselves doing their investigations and drawing up the list of people to benefit from public assistance, this job is left to the PPP operatives. It is the PPP's operatives that are doing the recommendations and so on for people to get public assistance. And so what you find happening now is that the list is being clogged, flooded with PPP folks, family, friends, and favorites. Some of them really and truly don't really need the public assistance. And so those who are really in need of it are being taken off by virtue of race and by virtue of assumed political allegiance. Can you imagine? Even the little assistance to the poor people. Even the little assistance to poor people. That is the way in which it is being managed. Based on your party affiliation, you can get public assistance or not. Whether you're a child or an adult. Beautiful country. Excessive growth and development according to the PPP and their friends. But even the systems that are supposed to work unbiasedly are not functioning the way they should. Because why? The PPP put in the friends and cronies to control everything and to discriminate everybody. But Parmanand is telling us that all is nice, all is well, all is good. Call your life.
Good morning. You're so true with what you're saying there. Now, I live in Amsterdam. Suddenly, Kadaki, we can't get water from since the local government. Where we there by them by now. But it become worse now. Imagine this man, I get up, I gotta run downstairs to fetch up water, to flush toilet, brush the teeth and everything. Carry upstairs and get them water. At 6:47, they cut off the pipe. Now, well, what kind of water you could fetch? Now you got children to prepare to go to school. Where they get their water to bathe from? And the pump is just in a stone throw from the Amsterdam. They tell you they cannot up to now come out and give to none of the villagers. Well, look, we got a problem with the pump, and we're going to put on the water within such and such a time. Yeah, please fill up water. Now when you get up and you talk here, people like to get a new thing come and the thing. Some Shahid Box, you see the one up here this morning, using out PPP and see this PNC now. These are things that we talk about on programs like these. Put aside here, you don't know about the lighting situation. And it is so absurd to hear the person who's supposed to look after the edges talking about the darkly lit road, non-lit roads, and the different things. He should be ashamed to speak on those things. You see, many of them, they run away from a party. Everybody wants to be in the leadership role. They don't sit down and study life, baking time and work good and the people go and see me and pick me for things. They just force. They may not have been given the position in the PNC because of how they would grade them and put them. They go into the PPP party and they are just rubber stamps to attract more foolish black people like themselves to go into the party. But all of these black people in the PPP party should sit down and really examine what are they getting being members of the party. Imagine something like Barra Jagdio, who ain't got a hair to his name. Now that he even cut off the hair, he normal hair, he shine. He removed them. And he gonna tell a man like Edil, who got a wife and family, shut up. You're mechanized. And you look as though somebody said, in all the different communities where any of them go, he or in front Ali, they look to shut down and demean the African men in the situation, in the place where they are. So when they bring down the men, and if they see they got strong African women too, they try to destroy them in whatever way possible by trying to say you're cussing them down. We ain't got nothing, so you don't talk about Edil. Now when it comes, I am glad that Team Ben has taken up the rightful position yesterday, and I like how they did it. They asked the former fraudulent team if they understood clearly the decisions of the judge and all the things, and they were made to answer yes, they understand what is now expected of them. And with that, I want to put the blessings on the Guyana Public Service Credit Union, and the person said that our African people, well, we know that, would go and cannot get loans. Credit union is up and running, and please make uses of the credit union to expand your upward mobility in whatever way possible. Work with Team Ben and make Team Ben and the credit union return to its former glory. Also, all the endeavors and the aspiration that Team Ben had for the credit union, I know it will come a reality. Only thing is that certain things will be at a higher cost than when they were thrown out by the coup. Lastly, I don't want you, Kadaki, to say I'm using you to furnish my own good, but what I want people to know, if you don't have a face, a human face, please do not contact me. And I don't want anybody, I don't care who you be, do not tell me where to put my ex at any election, any voting. I am 63. Thank God I'm not suffering for dementia or any form of Alzheimer's. I am legit. I only have my ankles got a slight pain. Sometimes I would wake up with a headache. But that's all my medical challenges, and that does not impede me from knowing what I have to do at an election. And remember, Jacob, prior to 2020, has the rights that no one should know who you have voted for. Your ex is your business. Because if your ex wasn't your business, whenever you go to any poll station, you would have seen on the ballot issued to you your name, your ID card, and your gender. And then you would have had to mark now on your ballot paper, mark Rondelaine, I'm voting for this. And how long a ballot paper does not have those identifying marks or characteristics. That means that your ballot is between you and who you mark your ex. So please do not tell me how to put my ex. Bye-bye.
Thank you for your call. The lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. You know, where the irony is? Ghana is developing at such a fast rate according to the people who are representing this development. But potable water is a problem in 2024. Potable water is a problem in 2024. Electricity supply is a problem in 2024. Can you imagine that? A reliable and swift suite of payment options is a problem in 2024. Where is this development and modernity taking place, man? Where? I listen, but permanent shift, not 90% of the people are suffering in this country. More than 40% or almost 40% of Guyanese are living in abject poverty. It's not ISIS, check the World Bank reports. Please check the World Bank report, permanent shift not. If 38% of your people are in abject poverty, there are different degrees of poverty. Total up all the degrees of poverty and see if we ain't got 90% people living in poverty. All them shiny things you're seeing is with the 10% control. One is racist because she will not support the PPP. See the logic? Somebody, a voice noter or a caller asked, how many Guyanese public servants, I think, drive a Prado? I addressed that issue before. I didn't talk about Prado and so on. But the policies of this government is that the ordinary Guyanese citizens can't drive anything more than a 1450cc vehicle. They either ride a motorcycle or you drive a 1450cc vehicle. A 1450cc vehicle, you're going to pay the lowest duties to bring. $800,000. And it must be a 4-year-old vehicle. So it must be only got small engine capacity, less than 1500cc. It must be old. It must be old. Prado, Guyanese, they want a Land Rover, a Land Cruiser, an SUV. The ordinary Guyanese, they want that. Who you think you are? You're untouchable. I know the word is Dalit, but you're surely not a Chatri. Only Chatris can drive Prados in this country. Walk around the US. And people just out of college driving Lexus. And wherever else the big vehicles are. Right? The ordinary citizens could barely buy a Toyota. Nissan is stressed for them because it's a little more expensive and it's harder to maintain. Toyota is the most popular vehicle in Ghana. Check it. Because the maintenance cost for most people, as I understand it, is cheaper than all the other vehicles. 1450cc. 1450cc. You can't do it better than that unless you're connected with the big boys. Yes, in 2024, Guyanese are now driving cars made since Noah was a boy. Kingpin was a peddler. A Guyanese feel that he has arrived when he drove in a 2018. Yaga. You drive in a 2020 vehicle, a 2020 vehicle in 2024. A vehicle that somebody has driven in some other country. That's the other thing. You think it's only a small capacity vehicle you could buy? 1450cc? It gotta be at least 4 years old. In most cases, it got over 100,000 km on it. I like when y'all come from me, Christine. I was about to invite you and your family to come and see what Club Twilight affords me to drive. But I don't think I want y'all in my space. Y'all are some blights. I drive a Ram, buddy. I drive a Ram. R-A-U-M. That's what I drive. Am I ashamed of driving a Ram? No, that's what I can afford. That's what I can maintain. That's what I drive. That is what your fastest growing economy permits me to drive. It also, it is several years. Imagine it coming after 4 years of somebody using it. And then somebody use it. And then I buy it. So imagine the vehicle must be about 40 years old, right? GT Starboy is telling us that you can lease a Lexus in the US about $60,000 a month. Your car note on a Toyota in this country is more than $60,000 a month. So imagine, you got to pay through your teeth if you want a Lexus. Listen. It's 2 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. Miranda Brown, speak for yourself, girl. Speak for yourself. I've never been involved in drug smuggling, corruption, insider trading in government, scamming, corruption in government. No, I've never been involved in all of that. And I didn't born with a gold spoon or silver spoon or even bronze spoon in my mouth. So the big money we're talking about, I got started somewhere. That must be why some people going after me. Right? Because you tell yourself I got some big money somewhere. I ain't got no big money. I got big mind. Right? I got big mind. And I have a contented heart. So I will happily drive around in my Ram because it's a, what should I say, a multi-purpose vehicle for me, you know. It does everything I want. Good. And I noticed recently that Club Twilight is suddenly in the minds of these PPP crasses. One of them made a snide remark yesterday about Club Twilight. Now Miranda Brown come around with Club Twilight. And Pamela come around with Club Twilight upon your mind. Hard work, dedication, proof of African Guyanese enterprising nature is what has brought Club Twilight to where it is. Oh, and I miss something else. Proof that African Guyanese can work together to achieve things, to bring things into reality, is what has Club Twilight there. And so now it rests on your stomach, man. It's not phone cards I sell. I wasn't permanent secretary and sell phone cards. I worked. And somebody asked me the other day, I think it was Robin, and I told her, you know, that for me is a lifelong project. It's not a 2-year walk. I walk. And so we have Club Twilight looking the way it is. Because I also trusted people looking like me. And so we're proving that black people could work together to achieve things. Put in your pipe and smoke it.
Good morning, Mr. Gaddafi. Let me say this. You see, this country, we could get a turnaround. But you know, when you just listen to these East Indian people that are buried, their heads are buried in the sand, and they would not stand for reality. Now, let me tell you something. When you look, come on back. Oh gosh.
God, I see a public service notice from Julia Lewis. Visit the nearest GCOM office in your area for change of name, walk with valid birth certificate or passport, and deed poll. If you're married, walk with your valid birth certificate or valid passport and marriage certificate. Registration closes the 31st of May. I do that for y'all free, man. Y'all could give me a little money too. Advertise on Cams TV. What happened? Is only them person don't forget money from advertising? Anyways, that is that. Something I wanted to say in passing. Anyway, I guess we can talk about that tomorrow. Because streaming is past 9 o'clock. Club Twilight is open all day long today. Come down to Club Twilight. Drink some beers, man. Watch some big screen TV. Oh, it's IPL, no? Yeah, we're going to drop an IPL game or two on the big screen. Come on down. Support Club Twilight. Instead of going... Don't say that. It's not a good thing to see. Right? It's not a good thing to see. I'll see y'all. Talk to y'all tomorrow. Join our clients tonight for another program of Politics 101. Right? Tomorrow morning, we'll be here to talk more about the business of managing this country, or should I say mismanaging this country. Right? Who don't like it? You have a choice. Television television nowadays are coming with remotes. You could switch a channel, you could switch it off. That's all. Something, and it's niggling at my mind, but I'm going to remember to tell you about it tomorrow. And it is little, but it is significant, I'm sure. But anyhow, Christine, let me address you by. Come to Club Twilight, drink out your money, and then complain, sell life hard. And the PPP. I tell you something. I live in Buxton. And I just see over and Neil. Yeah? I just see me neighbor them going to Sita Bar and Tasha Bar, drink all their money, the enough money that the PPP just give them as fisher folk concern, drink all their money, go home, dump their wife and children, cuss out their mother. Right? And as much as we just complain sell life hard, you know, that's not predominant in African Guyanese society. That's not predominant in African Guyanese society. Okay. The government. Oh, I wanted to address this one. The government is spending $150 million to bring Burna Boy to Guyana, to appease Guyanese with entertainment. People are asking how so many people find themselves on these boat cruises and in these concerts and so on. The government is using our money to ensure that they go there. Despite the fact that the next day they ain't got nothing to eat or they got complaints their life hard. I'm going to develop that for you tomorrow morning. Well, not tomorrow. The clients are on tomorrow. So maybe Thursday we can continue the conversation. Bye-bye. Chris Dean, go preach to your people them in Anandale, Lusignan, and so on, and tell them, stop drinking rum and cuss out and chop up Matty. Have a good one.